Hey there everyone, welcome back to Gamevine, and my name is David, and get your steins out and bust out the drinking games, because that's what today's Fast 5 is all about. No matter that this is a Gryffindor stein, go Team Slytherin. I should have burned when I touched that, but yes, that's what today's games are all about. We're going to be going into games that are a bit lighter, so you don't have to focus on the rules, and or would be a funny scenario to bust out during drinking. Now, the caveat, I am not much of a drinker. You can see my size. It doesn't take much for me to get woo, but I do dabble here and there, and these games that I've played while drinking were pretty fun, and I think that they would work in a good drinking scenario. So, without further ado, let me get to my first honorable mention, which is my only honorable mention for this game, and you could put any dexterity game in this position, but I'm going to go with Click Clack Lumberjack. You're basically just taking this axe and hitting this tree and trying to get bark and points that way, and you don't want to knock over the tower. Again, you can put any dexterity game in here, and there might be one or two that I have on the list, but you know, drinking and losing hand-eye coordination as you get drunker is always a funny scenario. Alright, so you're saying, Dave, if you don't drink, why are you doing a drinking top 5? Well, it's because I did a review for a game, and then I thought, well, there would be a few games that I could pick to do this list, so while it's fresh, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So, the first one on my list, I don't physically have, and it's not one of my favorite titles, though my wife actually likes this one a lot, and it's called Cards Against Humanity. Now, if you haven't heard about this game, you've been living under a rock. I didn't start the timer. And this is a game, basically you're taking a black card and a white card, and the black card is played and everyone's going to be playing on it, and they'll be playing their white card, and there is a judge, and then the judge will pick who has the best response or the funniest response. It's all subjective, really, and it can get pretty raunchy. As the expansions have came out, it's gotten worse and worse, and it's a game that really forces humor, which is why I'm not a big fan of it, but I think it does suit a drinking affair perfectly, because your inhibitions go out and your kind of thoughts about things are warped, and that's what Cards Against Humanity does perfectly. It warps things and makes them funny. It talks about Obama all the way to naked rats and what you can do with both of those things, and yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. So, if you like this type of game, that's why it made number 5. It's not my favorite, but it is a good drinking game. So, now let's go on to number 4. Alright, so number 4 is a pick that I think is just absolute silliness. And you actually take a club and you're going to be inflating it. It's an inflatable club and hitting each other on the heads. And this game is called UgTech. Now, this is hard to find. I think it's out of Prince Fantasy Flight Game, but you are building structures that you have on cards, and one person sees it, and they are giving directions in a different kind of way. They are relaying little phrases that a caveman would say, like Ungungu and Gaganstan, and these mean that you have to do this, and then they have to move and do stuff like that, and that's telling it where they have to place it. Now, my cousin Chris Earls hates this game, and he's going to hate the fact that I have it on the list, but I think this is perfect for a drinking scenario again, because I mean, you're just hitting people with this club and having fun, and it's kind of dexterous, and it's kind of hard to communicate, and this game might dissolve, but whatever, that's what this game is here for. It's just to have fun, though the person might hit you on the head pretty hard if they're drinking. So that is my number 4. Now let's move on to number 3. And number 3 on the list is the game that I was talking about earlier, the one that had me actually make this list, and I was like, yeah, this is a drinking game, why not put it on the list? Now, you can add some kind of aspects to this, like if the innkeeper busts, you drink. This is a game about rolling barrels, and it's called Polterfast. It's from Germany. I did a review on it, so if you want to go ahead and check that out and find out what it's about. But basically, the drinking games that you can do with this are almost limitless. You can pick, like, if a person gets 10 points, or if if they roll both barrels on, like, wash, you can drink, and you can just have a good time playing this game, and it's really simple. Again, I want to try to keep these games lighthearted, and if the games just kind of dissolve and you are done playing, you can just drop that game at a drop of a hat. So this game really caters to that. It's a fun pressure luck bluffing dice roller that you can adapt a drinking game to if you want. And again, it has barrels instead of dice, which I think is a really cool component. I don't have much more to say. So that was Polterfest. That was my number 3. Let's go on to number 2. So number 2 on the list is, it's a good pick, I think, and it's where I know you shouldn't give guns to drunk people, but this is Cash and Guns. They're play guns, and this is one of my favorite party games, and this is the second version. The first version is the same thing with minor tweaks on the part of the second one, but essentially it's the same game, but I prefer this one. You are basically taking a shoot card or a blank card and bluffing or telling the truth and pointing your gun at another person. Now I have a review if you want to go check out the further details on this, but you're going to be shooting these people or not shooting them and taking loot and trying to be the richest person at the end of it. Now if you've seen shootout movies like Reservoir Dogs or anything like that, it's kind of closely associated with that, if you think that that's what the theme is. I think this is fun. I think this is fun for people who drink, especially from all ages, because you might be a little timid to point a gun at a person, even if it's a toy gun, but if you're drinking a few, well, they're gonna die this round. So that is Cash and Guns. That is my number 2. Now let's go and see what number 1 is and see what game won overall. Let's go. Alright, so number 1 is not going to come to a surprise to many of you out there, and especially the people who know me, and this is a heavy box. I've gotten so much of it. This is Red Dragon Inn, and this is number 5, but I have so much of it at this point. I mean, you can't even see me. This has different heroes, and you can adapt drinking games into this quite easily. You can drink every time you actually have to drink, and the humor is there. There's so much of it. If you don't like one set, you can go to a different set and pick it up and have the same kind of game there, but with different heroes. So, I mean, just the variety and the fact that it is a light and simple game, and you can just drink to it and, you know, add that drinking game if you want. I have so many reviews on this. If you want to go check out further details, I recommend you go to the channel and do that, because this is one of my favorite games, of course, being on number 1 on the list. And I mean, what better list to put it on than top 5 drinking games? So Red Dragon Inn it's just awesome in my book. I think it's a perfect game for this list. Alright everyone, so thank you so much for joining me on today's Fast 5 of the top 5 drinking board games. And I hope this Fast 5 was informational, and if it wasn't, tell me how wrong I am down in the comments here. And if I was right, tell me how good I am, because I would really like to hear that. And if I didn't have your game on here, I'm sorry. Doesn't mean that it isn't a good game. It just means that I have my favorites. And put that game in the comments, so maybe I didn't know about it and I can play it, or if I did know about it, I'll say, well, this is why I wasn't on the list. I won't do that. I love you fans. So thank you so much. Again, I've been Dave, and have a great rest of your day and a great time with all that you play. You heard it here on the Game Vine. Bye. I'm out.